The MLS is not a toy. This live on Instagram is specifically geared toward real estate agents. Hang with me, I'm pulling on a special guest. Let's see. Hey, Robert. Let me see if I can get the special guest on. Robert. Let's see. There we go. There we go. View request. Robert on. Let's see if our special guest is coming up. There he is.
I like them still special.
Oh, you are still special. You are still special. Hi, Mr. Funk.
Hey, how you doing?
Unbelievably amazing. And you and I are going live this evening. This live is titled "The MLS is Not a Toy."
Not a
You,
toy.
you and I are going to share some conversations specifically for the real estate agent community and some of the obstacles facing agents, and certainly some of the things going on in the MLS that shouldn't be. So let's talk a little bit
Absolutely.
about, I have two topics we can cover, all under the MLS is not a toy. One is listing manipulation in the MLS. We can touch on that. And then the other is, well, flat out deception in the MLS, which surfaced for us Friday night, 8 o'clock, during trick-or-treating and Halloween. What happened to Mr. Funk?
Deception is in the MLS. We had a agent call us up. I think it is a deception or desperation is the
Oh, both.
quite it's a little of
And
both, right?
yeah,
So had a team agent give me a call, they had a customer call them up about a listing that came up on the market. It had a big, huge fat price reduction of about over 50%. Was originally listed somewhere in the 400s. They put a new listing price of $200,000 now. Good deal, right?
the listing agent dropped the price from 400,000 to 200,000.
200,000 and put it on the market. Buyer's calling the agent, hey, we want to put an offer in on this. Agent looks at the listing and all the way down, not in the public remarks that the consumer would see in Zillow, on realtyorlando.com, on any of the portals, but only available to agents, has a little, we'll call it a disclaimer, I guess, right? For instructions for realtors, and I think you have it there, right? I
I
also
do.
have it.
I do. So Friday night, just imagine 8 p.m., trick-or-treating going on. One of the buyer's agents for the fund collection calls Jeff and says, "What do I do? I have a buyer that's like, I have to drop everything and write an offer because this really quote unquote good deal just came across the syndication of listings." And our agent, buyer's agent on the fund collection, is like, "Jeff, what is this? Why would somebody drop it from 400,000 to 200,000 any day, but on a Friday?" Then the agent says, in the MLS under realtor remarks, which by the way, for the consumer, no one can see realtor remarks unless you're a realtor in the MLS. What do those realtor remarks say? Well, I have them right here. Let's read it. The list price represents the opening offer amount. Please make all offers based on comparable sales, not the opening offer amount.
So say you. Right? So it's not listed as an auction. It's not in there as an auction, right? So I could see if it was an auction, that it's an auction property, we're starting at 200,000. We're actually saying that the listing is priced at 200,000. Now we have buyers calling up agents, hey, I'm interested in this property. I want to I want to put an offer in on this property, and now we have team members calling us up saying, "What do we do?" So what did I do is I called the agent. I
You called
figured
the listing.
I actually called the agent. I figured,
You
if
called
we're
the
getting the
you
listing
called
agent,
the listing agent. Yep.
I called the listing agent because I figured if I was going to be, you know, at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock on Halloween night, I might as well bring them into the loop. And I asked them, and they said, "Well, I called the MLS to see if it was all right," and they said it was, which I don't know if that's true or not. And I said to them, I said, "Well, the fact that you had to call the MLS to find out if it's true was probably your first clue that maybe you shouldn't do it. Maybe you were you had in your head that you were deceiving people by doing this." Or that this was a marketing strategy that maybe was not all that ethical. And so, well, the MLS allows it.
And let's touch on that for a second. I actually have, by the way, Stellar MLS is what we're referring to through Orlando Regional Realtor Association. Jeff and I are coming to you from Orlando. This is our realtor board and our MLS for this local market. Or Regional Realtor Association has about 17,000 agents. Fact check me on that. It might be a little bit smaller now. The regulation for the MLS is public facing. Anybody can go and read these regulations. They're available on the internet through all your AI, chat GPTs, all the things. Auction properties are permitted in Stellar MLS.
I don't know
Check
if it
with
has to
you.
be an auction.
It has to
They
be
have to have an
designated.
auctioneer, but I don't know the rules of necessarily.
I have it pulled
Okay,
up.
the
So
rules of doing an auction.
I have it pulled up. Here's, I think, what everybody needs to take away is number one, we have, hey, Rosa, good to see you. Hey, Peter. Hey, Kelly, thank you for being here. Number one is we have people watching from all over. So, first guidance for real estate agents is first, check with your team leader, check with your broker, check your own respective MLS rules because each MLS can have different regulation. Jeff and I are speaking specifically tonight on MLS not being a toy pursuant to the regulation we're governed by here in Central Florida. Auction properties are permitted, but there is a special designation. There's check boxes, there's certain verbiage that needs to be included, public facing. There's all sorts of setup that needs to go into the MLS, which this listing that our agent got called on at 8 o'clock on Friday night, because who would blame the buyer? The buyer's looking at it going, the list price of this sale, this listing is 200,000. So of course the buyer's going to call up and say that. If it was
I want to
listed
put
in
an
the
offer in for two hundred
MLS,
thousand dollars.
if it was listed in the MLS as an auction properly pursuant to the regulation, the consumer would not be deceived. The consumer would know it was an auction. Can you tell I'm a little fired up about this?
Oh, I was fired up, but I think I just think it's deception. I think that the bigger thing is that you now have, since it's not being transparent what we're really doing in the public remarks, is now you have a customer that's calling up their agent saying, "Hey, I want you to put in an offer for 200,000," which the other agent actually said that agents were doing him. Oh, I'm sorry, not agents were doing. Stupid agents are doing that. They're actually sending me $200,000. The stupid agents are sending me $200,000 offers. Um, and I said, but you're putting that in there and you're not disclosing this. And now you have customers calling agents, and now you're leaving it up for the agent to explain exactly what you're doing in there, and you're risking relationships. Oh,
Correct.
well,
And the listing agent using realtor remarks to put in there, this is only a starting price. Please make an actual offer based on comp sales. The only people who can see that is internally. I mean, I have it printed. We're not giving any specifics as to the who or the where, but it is right here in realtor remarks. Realtors are not able to show those realtor remarks. Sometimes there's private information specific to that property that Realtors are not allowed to share that information. So the listing agent putting that, first of all, the words that were chosen are not compliant. Again, if the listing agent would have listed it as an auction property and followed the regulation, this would be a non-issue. Rather, the listing agent, and let's get to the real crux of the matter here. The listing agent who listed the property said something like, "It's a tough market out there. This is my marketing. It's up to the buyer's agents to find the buyers." Excuse me,
Oh
all
yeah, they did say
agents.
it's up to the buyer's agent to find the buyers, which I responded, now you're the listing agent. It's actually your job to find the buyers, and it's your job to market to the agents. And it's a shame. I mean, the MLS is an incredible tool for the agents. And it is probably the best tool out there that agents have to communicate with other agents and to the public that we have a property. Everything, all properties that we get at our brokerage go out to the public because it's transparent. It is the best way for every to market a property, bar none, bar none. Other countries are trying to emulate the MLS. No, they whenever you talk to brokers from other countries, it's like the MLS system is efficient. And with this system, you don't have to go from broker to broker to find out everybody has their individual inventory. It's all transparent. Here it is. You can use your chosen broker to go over and see the property, put an offer in. We're going to co-broke together. This is not being transparent to the public, in my
The
opinion.
example that we're
The
given.
example that we're using. And when agents that are good at their job will be making sure that their listings are presented so many ways on the MLS correctly. Professional photos, 360s, the great write-ups, and there's so many things that agents can do and to make their property shine on the MLS. Not all agents do that.
Correct.
Some
And
agents
in
just
this
lower
case,
prices
the,
by
we
hundreds of
we
thousands of
started
dollars.
we started this live talking about this scenario shows a listing agent who is being deceptive, who has no transparency, who's trying to generate exposure on a listing that's under false pretenses, and also said something to you along the lines of like, "Hey, I'm going to do an open house and it's going to drive all this traffic." Although it's not for sale at 200,000, hence it should have been an auction if that was the strategy. Ultimately, what really irks me as someone who you and I and the team has built a business on what's best for the customer, understanding the importance of our realtor to realtor colleague relationships, because the relationships we have in our industry are a superpower that our clients then have access to leverage because of our reputation and the connections. Someone like that has no clue that our job as a listing agent is to be a marketer. And that
Well,
doesn't mean that you use the MLS like a toy. A couple weeks ago, I did a live stream in Instagram and I titled it "The MLS is not a toy." And what I was sharing, Jeff, is how some agents, remember back in the day, we saw this, it's starting to come back. They're a listing agent and they decide they don't know how to market. They're going to take the listing today and drop it $5 so it resyndicates out through the portals, and then they drop it again $5 or $1. That is not a strategy and it is not allowed. Um, let's touch on, because the good news is
I will. Can I say one other thing about like now they're doing an open house all weekend at $200,000 publicly that people don't know that they don't want to accept $200,000. So you're going to have all this foot traffic going through your house for people that think that they can buy this house for $200,000. I guess what the biggest thing that annoys me about the entire thing is the time wasted the time wasted to the public, to the realtors, to everybody, the time Friday night that we were wasted, the fact that we are even having to talk about this. I mean, I just think of the man hours. How many people got a call? How many agents got a call on Friday night saying, "We need to hurry up. This is a good deal on this property. I need you to write an offer."
Now, and we have a
There
saying
was a
that there's almost
deception for
no,
sure.
there's really no emergencies in real estate. I'm not saying there isn't really critical moments. I'm saying for the most part, like there's not like stop everything at, 10 o'clock on Friday night, like rare. And this would be one of those where if it were actually on the market and it's a fire sale, like it would be so much of an outlier. But I could see why everyone would
Well,
say,
you're offering.
we gotta write it up. Something's happening. They need to liquidate and ditch this property yesterday. The good news is that the realtor community is filled with true agents that are professionals and who understand this is not acceptable to behave this way. And overall, I'm with you. The MLS system is such a good system, which is why we're doing this live to call it out and say, this is an outlying situation. It is not okay. If you are ever a seller and your agent is suggesting or not giving you the reasons why this is not okay, that's an issue. If you're if you're in the MLS as an active status listing and you're not listed as an auction property, your active price is the list price. That's what you're saying you will sell the property for. It's all negotiable. Can we talk about listing manipulation? Oh,
Sure.
oh, I see Michael Prendergast. Hey, Michael. What listing manipulation has seen a few different things hit the news, and I saw an example of it today in the MLS. Do you want me to share?
I would love to hear the example. Actually, I know I saw the example too.
You did?
I did. I
Okay.
did.
Once again, going to regulations of which protect the consumer. Stellar MLS has regulations. They're all forward facing. You can comment below in this live and say, send me the regulations if you don't know what they are. They're all forward facing. We'll send them to you. Listing manipulation can take on a few forms. This particular example is if a listing agent has an active listing on the MLS, an MLS ID number is issued. And that ID number is very important. If the seller chooses to cancel or withdraw the listing, the seller and the agent must wait 60 days or more before relisting the property if the property is in the same brokerage and they would like to reset the days on market to 0. Did I explain that part correctly?
Well, there's 2 days on market. So you have ADOM and CDOM, actual
Yep.
days on market and cumulative days on market. So active days on market are going to be active for that MLS number. So you can go to another broker, and if your listing expired today, you go another broker, you get a new MLS number with the new brokerage, and you will then get active days on market at 0. If
And
you
that
choose to relist with the same brokerage, those active days continue to count unless you manipulate the MLS
an
and get
example
it.
of manipulating the MLS would be the listing is withdrawn and the listing agent chooses to initiate a new listing, which MLS populates a new MLS ID number and resets the days to 0. Specifically in the regulation, it says, Stellar regulation says you cannot use a new MLS number, therefore resetting the days to 0, unless it's 60 days or more. You can't get creative and switch agents on teams or any of that. And one of the reasons this is important is because all things considered, when buyers are assessing how they're going to be strategic in their offer, one of the data points considered is how long has it been on the market? How many price reductions has it had? How long has it been on the market? Is it stalling on the market? Is it set on the market longer than other comparables? It is not a good move, and it is not allowed to try to manipulate that average days on market. Mm-mm. And guess what? Sometimes it happens. I saw an example of it today. It's not okay. The MLS is not a toy. If you're an agent who feels like maybe you want to surround yourself and be in community with agents that have been in the market for a long time to help you avoid these traps, please reach out to an agent in your office, reach out to Jeff and I, seek wise counsel. Jeff, you've been at this a lot of years, 25 years, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
26, but who's counting?
Yeah. You've been doing a lot. Hey, Ben Lobby, good to see you. Be in collaboration with other more senior agents who can say to you, hey, that's a trap. You don't want to fall into that. Many of these violations with Stellar MLS or your MLSs, they initiate immediate fines, they being Stellar MLS. It's the real deal. We have a responsibility as realtors to abide by the regulation.
I think it all comes down, it's a great system. It is the best that is out there, the best that we have. But bad data in, bad data out. So we gotta protect the data. And manipulation is not the way.
Hi, Boxer. Boxer, the MLS is not a toy. Agents, if you're not sure, reach out to your team leader, reach out to your broker, reach out to legal hotline, read Stellar MLS regulations. You got this. This is all about protecting the consumer. There's a reason why regulations are put into place. These protect the data, keep transparency. Yes. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for our TED Talks, Mr. Funk. You're always a pleasure. Whenever I have you on, everyone's like, why can't we get Jeff more often?
I don't know, but I just see hi Renee, hi Renee, hi Renee.
Yeah. Oh, Michael didn't say hi to you. He only said
No,
hi
I
to me.
didn't.
I don't know if Michael's still on here, but Michael, we'll probably call you when we're done. All right. You rock, Mr. I have 0% failed listings right here.
For the year.
There you go.
Oh, there's Michael. Hi, Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Funk. Make it a great day. Remember, the MLS is not a toy. Bye, y'all.
Bye.